A football player, his country's star striker, gets stopped at an American airport. 7 hours. Interrogation room. Phone checked. Questioned like a criminal. When all he came for was to play in the World Cup. This was Iraq's Ayman Hussein. And just days later, a Somali referee, Omar Artan, who was supposed to officiate matches at this World Cup, he's denied entry too. Banned, with no explanation given. But that was just the trailer. The real story is only just beginning. What if I told you an entire national football team wasn't allowed to sleep in the US? A team that came to play the World Cup in the very country hosting the tournament, but had to cross an international border every night just to sleep. After every single match, Iran, World Cup 2026, exiled to Mexico. This is the story of a team that became refugees in their own tournament. And here's the strangest part. This wasn't just some minor controversy. This was the first time in World Cup history that a host nation was in direct conflict with one of its own participating teams. Imagine going to play in your enemy's backyard, and that same enemy deciding where you sleep, when you travel, and for how long. February 2026. Tensions rise in the Middle East as the US and Israel enter direct conflict with Iran. And the first impact of this conflict shows up nowhere near a battlefield, inside a football federation's office. So where did the fallout hit first? Not the pitch, the visa office. Iran's team had originally planned to base themselves in Tucson, Arizona. But the US visa process got so tangled that the Iran Football Federation was forced to change its entire plan at the last moment. The team was sent to Tijuana, Mexico, a border city just 127 miles from Los Angeles. 127 miles, the distance of an entire country. Imagine, coming to America to play the World Cup, and your home is in a different country. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio himself said in a public hearing, "We have no issue with the athletes or their support staff. But if anyone has ties to the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, they won't be allowed to cross the border." And that was the real twist. The president of the Iran Football Federation himself, Mehdi Taremi, was once a high-ranking IRGC intelligence officer. His visa was rejected. So was the Federation's Secretary Generals and Vice Presidents. Nearly a dozen delegation members were denied entry into the US entirely. And it didn't stop there. Mehdi Taremi himself was once stopped in Canada too. His visa canceled mid-flight, and he was sent back. Taremi reacted sharply, saying, "We're going to play the World Cup, which we qualified for. Our host is FIFA, not Trump or America." He demanded a guarantee from FIFA that his country's symbols wouldn't be disrespected. A few weeks later, another accusation surfaced. US officials claimed an IRGC-linked individual had tried to board Iran's team flight to Los Angeles. The Iran Federation immediately rejected this, calling it an outright lie, saying the accusation was fabricated purely to justify the restrictions against them. And when the team flies from Turkey toward Mexico, the story is far from over. The real ordeal was only just beginning. FIFA's rule was simple. Teams travel from their base camp one day before a match and return to base after the match. But for Iran, this normal rule became a daily prison cycle. A 27-minute flight, a 5-hour ordeal. Team captain Mehdi Taremi explained, "A flight that should have taken half an hour stretched to 5 hours because of security and immigration checks. Every single time the team crossed the border." June 15th, Iran's first match against New Zealand at SoFi Stadium, a 2-2 draw. The moment the match ended, no celebration, no recovery. Coach Amir Galinoue had assumed the team would spend the night in California, but what he was told left the entire team stunned. "We were supposed to arrive 2 nights before the match. We weren't allowed to. We were supposed to stay tonight and head back by lunch tomorrow, but we don't know why. They didn't tell us anything," Galinoue said after the match. And a few weeks later, what he said about his team's exhaustion went viral around the world. "The most oppressed team in the whole World Cup," the coach's own words. And this wasn't just about fatigue. One player's visa expired the moment the match ended. Winger Mehdi Taremi had a single-entry visa, while the rest of the team had multiple entry visas. The instant the match finished, his visa automatically expired. He had to go to the US consulate in Tijuana himself to get a new one, like he was some tourist, not a World Cup player. One image went viral around the world. Player Alireza Jahanbakhsh leaving Tijuana, resting his head on a Quran in prayer. This wasn't just a sports story anymore. It had become a story of daily survival. Team captain Mehdi Taremi said after the first match, "This is a disaster for us." He explained that immigration took hours and players had no time to rest right after the match. Winger Alireza Jahanbakhsh declined to say much about the situation in the press conference, only saying that despite this difficult environment, he wanted to give his best. But while the whole world thought this exhausted team would fall apart, they did something nobody expected. June 21st, Iran faces Belgium, one of the top-ranked teams in the world. A team that hadn't slept properly, that had crossed the border, gone through hours of immigration checks, and walked onto the pitch exhausted. No rest, no home ground, no excuses. The result? 0-0. Iran didn't let a team like Belgium score a single goal. Everyone thought this team would collapse. But the players who were crossing the border daily showed a spirit on the pitch rarely seen even in comfortable, fully rested teams. Belgium had world-class attackers, but Iran's defensive line stood like a wall the entire match and held them off. Fans were confused. How could a team that hadn't slept all night play such disciplined defense? Maybe there was only one reason behind it. When you have to keep proving, again and again, that you deserve to be here, you find an extra fire within yourself that might never surface under normal circumstances. And then comes the final group match against Egypt. And the build-up to this match was so controversial that the whole world was watching. June 26th, Seattle, Lumen Field. This match wasn't just about football anymore. It was about geopolitics too. Iran crosses the border once again for their final group match, carrying the heaviest exhaustion of their entire tournament. The match ends 1-1, but a late VAR call, an offside decision, knocks Iran out of second place. 3 matches, 0 losses, still eliminated. This is the most painful twist of this entire story. Iran didn't lose a single match at the World Cup. 2-2, 0-0, 1-1, 3 matches, 3 draws, 0 defeats. But because of a small margin in goal difference, the team that never lost was knocked out of the tournament. It's worth thinking about. If Iran had gotten the same normal recovery time, the same normal travel schedule as every other team, would the result have been different? That question will forever remain unanswered. Think about the irony. The team that wasn't allowed to sleep, that was forced to cross the border day and night, that team never lost on the pitch. A single number, a statistic, was all it took to eliminate them. The story didn't end when the match did. The Iran Football Federation didn't stay silent. They called it not just a logistics issue, but deliberate political interference, and filed an official complaint with FIFA's disciplinary committee. But the question is, will FIFA ever actually act on this complaint? Or will it just become another file-gathering dust? Before the tournament even began, the Iran Federation had sent FIFA a list of 10 conditions, including a demand that players and officials who had previously served in the IRGC military also be granted visas. This shows that this tension wasn't just building during the tournament. It had been brewing for months beforehand. And there was a moment when the whole world thought Iran might not even play the World Cup at all. Some reports even suggested a US envoy had discussed with FIFA the possibility of replacing Iran with Italy. But FIFA President Gianni Infantino stated clearly, Iran's team will be there, for sure. And Iran wasn't alone in this. Iraq's Ayman Hussein was detained for 7 hours. His team photographer, Talal Salah, was sent back after being held for 10 hours. Somali referee Omar Artan was denied entry before he could even officiate a match. A Swiss player faced issues too. Iran's players said it themselves. We don't think we're the only ones being targeted. This is part of a bigger pattern. And this isn't just about football anymore. It raises a much bigger question. Whenever a major international event is hosted in a country that's in political tension with another nation, should the athletes, referees, and staff have to pay the price for that tension? These people don't make the decisions behind their country's conflicts. They just come to play their sport. So this question stops being about just one team. It becomes, is sport even free from politics at all? Inside cinemas in Tehran, people gathered to watch their team because the match wasn't directly available on their TV. Every draw made the whole country scream with joy, like it was a victory. On one side, their country was going through a war. On the other, their players were running border to border. And yet, when the match began, this team gave everything on the pitch. That contrast is exactly what makes this story so powerful. Every time the world wanted to watch them lose, this team stood back up. And the most heart-touching part of this entire story is that the players never used their situation as an excuse. Golanoy himself said, "We came here to play football, not politics." He was describing their hardship, but he never let it compromise their game. This wasn't just a football story. This was the story of a team that never found a home in the very country hosting their own tournament, who had to cross a border every single night just to sleep, whose federation heads were banned, whose players' visas were cancelled. And yet, when the whistle blew, they never gave up. Sometimes the real victory isn't on the scoreboard. The real victory is that you didn't give up, that even exhausted, even after crossing borders, you gave everything you had on the pitch. And maybe that's the lesson this entire story teaches us. Sport is always called a level playing field, where only talent and hard work matter. But Iran's story reminds us that in the real world, sometimes athletes win a war before they even step onto the pitch. A war that never shows up on the scoreboard. Undefeated, still eliminated. Now you tell me, was this just logistics? Or was it deliberate? Drop your opinion in the comments.